Hey my friends, Russell Banky here with BestPriceProperties.com. Today we're going to be meeting with Luke Tilley. He's the production operator with First Choice Lending, and we're going to be sitting in with him in just a moment, and we're going to talk to him about some frequently asked questions that buyers are asking about home loans. Hey my friends, Russell Banky here with BestPriceProperties.com, and today, as I mentioned earlier, we were sitting here with Luke Tilley. He's the production manager for First Choice Lending. And I guess the first question we're going to ask is, what does it take to get a loan in today's market, Luke?
It's a lot harder than it used to be in some aspects, and it's a lot easier in some aspects too. It's not always, it's not as cut and dry as it used to be. Some of the basics that I get asked a lot as far as what does it take to qualify and things like that, generally let's start with credit. That's always the first thing you need to do is get a copy of your credit report. Come to our office, come talk to Russell, we can help you out with that. And then let's see what's on there. Let's identify any issues up front before we kind of go out the door. If you're looking for scoring exactly, most banks would like to have you at least a 640 credit score, but there are several times where we can get lower than that, down to around 600, and there's even some banks that will go down to a 580 credit score still, if a lot of the criteria are met. So the credit would be the most important thing. A second aspect of that, even if you have the best credit in the world, you gotta have a job nowadays. That used to not be the case back in the past, but now you do have to have a job. And one thing that's very important is we have to show that you have the capacity to repay the loan. The worst thing we can do as a lender or as a home builder is put somebody in a house they can't afford.
Right, that's a 2-year work history, is that correct?
That is, yeah. We go back 2 years on pretty much everything. You don't have to be on the same job 2 years. Right. You just need to be working the last 2 years. And we go off what your current income is. So if you made less money a couple of years ago, but you moved up the ranks, you're taking better jobs, and we use what your current income is for qualifying.
Let's talk about trade lines, because most banks are looking for, 3 credit lines?
Yeah, what they generally look for is, they look for at least 3 trade lines. And what a trade line is, that's going to be like a credit card, a car payment, maybe a previous housing payment, things like that, a secured line of credit, you took out something like that. We generally want 3 of them at least 12 months old. That's not set in stone. That can be adjusted if there are other good compensating factors. But as a rule of thumb, they generally want at least, they want to be able to see that, we need to see how you paid back people in the past before we give you a bigger loan in the future.
History.
Right.
And if you don't have a car note or any credit cards, will they accept alternate lines of credit?
Great question. They will, and the theory kind of goes, it's hard as a lender to punish people for being out of debt. Mm-hmm. I don't think that is fundamentally right. Most lenders will agree.
Yeah, because people don't want credit cards.
Yeah, and you can, you can make the opposite argument that they're very credit worthy because they've chosen not to incur debt. Where that comes into an issue, though, is we have to show some sort of payment history. Right. That's where alternative credit comes in. And let me give you some examples of alternative credit. The first one, and the most important one, is your rent. If you paid your rent on time the last 12 months, we have to have that. That's great. We'll go to your landlord and get the information ourselves. We might ask you to produce canceled checks, things like that for it. Another example would be car insurance.
Right.
Basically, anything you pay your bill on, your cell phone, a gym membership, anything that you pay regular on, on a monthly basis, your electric bill, your water bill, your cable bill, phone bill, anything like that, as long as we can show a 12-month payment history that has been on time, that can certainly work in your favor if you do not have any credit history.
And all that would take would be a letter on a letterhead from the company?
Absolutely.
Like that?
Absolutely.
That's fantastic news for a lot of buyers out there that just, don't have credit cards or even car loan, which is great. I mean, I like no bills as well. But let's talk a little bit about the zero down programs that are out there.
Sure. There are still a couple of them out there. The bigger one now is the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs has a great bond program out now that offers 5% down payment assistance for those that meet certain guidelines. Okay. And that 5% will be enough to put in your minimum requirement. The minimum requirement is 3.5%, and they'll give you 5% of it. It's a normal standard government insured loan, fixed rates, no prepayment penalties, nothing odd like that. But they do ask that you meet certain income requirements, certain purchase price requirements, things like that. But I will say they are the requirements are liberal, and a lot of people can fall into those.
Right, and I've experienced a lot of, for my buyers of getting them actually a $500 move-in.
Sure, so we've done several of those this year, many of those.
And I've worked with you guys on a bunch of loans through Legend Homes and some other builders as well. Let's talk about, there's free money out there to get. and there's just so many bond programs out there through the government. Is there any, I know there's a loan or a bond out there that you can actually get about $167 a month
Sure.
to help, I guess, cushion your payment on your home?
There is a program for that, and basically what it is, it's a tax credit that you can file with your taxes, or what a lot of people will do is they will adjust their withholdings from their employer. So instead of getting, say, the $2,000 tax credit at the end of the year, they get an extra $166 a month on their paycheck that helps offset that a little bit on there. So that is another very popular program. There's a lot of money still available for that, for both of these bond programs. There's over $200 million in the TDHCA one still remaining.
Right.
That's a lot of money,
Right.
$200 million still remaining. And the MCC programs do not see any cause for interruption anytime soon.
Right. And there's, y'all do DAP as well.
Absolutely. Harris County Down Payment Assistance. It's fantastic. They offer you, if you buy a new home, up to $14,200 for down payment assistance.
That's great.
And it's a great program. Their requirements are a little bit more strict when it comes to income and everything. But it's my job as a lender is when you come to me and that's what you need, I filter all those out for you, or any reputable lender will.
Right.
Don't waste your time too much going from 80 different websites trying to get information. God forbid if you try the city's website, it hadn't been updated in probably 3 or 4 years, so
Yeah.
you never know the information that you're getting there.
Right.
But any good reputable lender will be able to filter through those for you. And when it all comes down, even if there's 10 or 12 programs, you might only qualify for 1 or 2, and so that's our job to help fit you in the one that's going to fit you best.
Right. And for bond programs from the government, they're going to expect at least a 620 credit score, right?
Generally, yeah, so a 620 credit score for those is what they're going to expect.
Okay. Is there any information that our buyers need to know? Anything else?
The first thing I would tell you is, one, don't be afraid. You know,
What we hear on the news and everything.
Sure,
it's not
we
true.
work with very reputable professional people. Don't be afraid, and it's not as painful as you hear out there. And for what it's worth, there are no more exotic loans. Period.
Yeah.
They do not exist. You cannot get put in a loan where you have a prepayment penalty.
Right.
You can't be put in a loan where your payments are all of a sudden going to skyrocket one year to the next.
Right.
Those do not exist. There is a lot of that out there. The most important thing, though, is that you work with reputable people that will help guide you through the process.
And I put that team together for all my clients. And I just want y'all to remember, Best Price Properties is not only here to help you with your mortgages, but we can get your closing costs paid, get huge discounts, huge incentives on brand new homes for you. So stay in touch with us, stay tuned, keep staying with the video that I'm going to be sending you, and thank you very much and have a great day.